My name is Jacob. I'm 21. I've been suing the government for 3 years. And during those 3 years, I have seen the trees on my farm close to Roseburg, Oregon, start dying because of drought stress. I have breathed the smoke that is getting worse and worse every year from the mega wildfires in our regions that are fueled by climate change. I think to know that this is only the tip of the iceberg, the beginning of the destabilization that climate change has in store for me and my generation is probably one of the worst feelings that I can think of. Of all the crimes that a nation can commit against its citizens, the deliberate and conscious poisoning of the very basic resources that we will depend on is probably the most far-reaching and insidious. And we will only see those full effects in my lifetime and in my children's lifetime. This is exactly what the Trump administration is doing by promoting coal and gas over renewables, by deregulating our federal waters to open them up to gas drilling, by deregulating emissions limits on cars, among others. These actions work directly to deprive me of fundamental food and water security and the very land on which I live and farm through climate change-fueled mega wildfires. They threaten my constitutional rights and the very social and economic security of the community that I live in. During the past 2 years, this administration has done nothing but obfuscate and bring up excuses, including by filing multiple motions that had already been upheld by the Ninth Circuit Court in this court here in Eugene. This administration is running from the truth of science and our voices as they will be presented at trial. It is high time that it faces justice. Thank you.
If you weren't in the courtroom, I talked about Jamie, who's Navajo, she's Dine, and this summer when I was talking to her and helping her write her declaration, she talked about not being able to go outside, like literally being stuck inside her home all summer because of the extreme heat that they didn't always experience on the reservation. And this is her land, and she's been impacted in so many ways that personally affect her and her dignity and her heritage. So these are real harms, and the United States government is the most culpable party on the planet for causing climate change.
Yes.
And we have so much evidence, it's overwhelming evidence. Our job is really to narrow it and figure out the best of it to present because there's so much evidence of it. So when we get to trial, we'll easily be able to prove that up. And right now, we're just fighting a request for a stay by the Supreme Court, or in front of the Supreme Court, and so that's our next task. Our brief is due on Monday, and we'll be ready. And some of the key cases we rely upon are cases that Justice Kennedy wrote about the dignity of individuals and the right when you are suffering infringements and deprivations of your liberty under the US Constitution. It is the courts that have the duty to hear those cases, and that is what is before the courts right now, and we're confident that we're going to prevail on that argument.
The way our Constitution is framed is if our government harms these citizens, particularly the youth of America, then it's time for the youth to stand up in court and for the court to issue a remedy stopping that violation. Julia had a great line in there where she said, "The Constitution is silent on the national energy system, but loud with liberty."